Welcome back to the channel. I'm joined by no other than Nelly Korda from Team TaylorMade. We're going to cover a what's in the bag.
Mic drop.
This is the first look photo shoot style. Literally just having a conversation with the rep that helps you with your irons, Ryan Resser, and I want to start right there. Just tell us what he was talking about. There's a bit of lead tape on the MC9 and wedge. Why is that? What are you testing?
Over the overall weight of the club, I hit a lot of controlled shots, so I want to feel like my club is one whole. I don't want to feel like the head is heavier than the rest of the club. I want to feel like the whole club is whole, and I was feeling the weight a little too much in the grip.
Yeah.
So just putting a little lead tape on my pitching wedge and 9-iron, which at the end of the day, those are your scoring clubs, so you need to feel very confident with them, so I'm going to test those out later.
So that's swing weight for those of you out there that follow closely. It's the balance point, 14 inches from the butt of the golf club, and we're just adjusting that in those short irons for that feel. Let's start at the bottom end.
Yeah.
I see that you've got a mill grind 458 low bounce, standard bounce in the 50, and then high bounce in the 54. Talk us through different bounces in the 3 different lofts.
So the 58, I want it to feel, you hit so many different shots with the 58, and I don't necessarily like to change the bounces through the different golf courses and different courses. I want a wedge that performs the best on every golf course that I'm comfortable with and confident with throughout the entire year. That's just me personally. I know a lot of people change based on firmness, different golf course. So the first thing I look at, growing up in Florida, it's very hard to hit flush shots off of Bermuda grass because there's so many different kinds. There's tight Bermuda and then there's fluffy Bermuda. So making sure that you never use the leading edge and making sure that when you chip, you use more of the bounce is really important to me. So for it to sit flush on the ground and for me to open up and hit a flop shot and a bunker shot, this wedge just performed the best for me. I don't really necessarily look at like, oh, this is the loft I want and this is what I'm gonna go with. I test a variation of lofts and see which one performs best and what feels the best for me.
Okay,
so
awesome.
That was 58.
How much time then, as we transition into your irons, do you spend working on getting the loft set on these P7 MCs all the way up to, I see that you transition at 6-iron into the 770s for the 5. How much time do you spend getting the lofts and the flights? How do you work out the transition between 6 and 7?
So I have a little bit of a lower ball flight, tend to hit a lot of controlled shots. So I like to see a little bit of a penetrating ball flight versus one that, you know, kind of gets lost in the wind. I feel like I just gain the most control, and it's all about always being pin high and giving yourself the best opportunity. So I feel like a controlled shot versus one that you rip at, where you can, the ball flight maybe one is a little spinnier, and 2, the wind can affect it a little bit more. And that's why I have a split set. So obviously, you know, when you play majors and you play big tournaments, the greens tend to get firmer faster, and they always push us back on par 3s. I mean, I typically have a 7, 6, or 5-iron into a par 3 at a bigger tournament. I mean, you know, majors, the golf courses usually tend to be tougher. They test your entire game. So with my 6 and 7 irons, that's the reason why I have the split set, the P770s. I just felt like that I got the best height, and then they landed the softest for me. And then for the MCs, I just love the way they look. I think they're just like a perfect mix set between a blade and like the 770s with the forgiveness. And I feel like I can hit my controlled shots, the flighted shots, and also the ones that I do have to, you know, hit high and soft.
Is that why then you're in the TP5 golf ball?
I was playing the TP5, but I switched. Before I went to Korea, I switched to the TP5X. I just felt like throughout the season, I like to see a check release, especially around the greens. And I felt like they were just kind of releasing on me a little too much. And I was thinking, okay, I don't know if this is me or if this is the wedge or if this is the ground, right? And I was like, I was very confused for a little bit. And then I switched to the TP5X. And one, I gained a bunch of distance with my driver. I think I gained like almost 8 yards, which is pretty significant just by switching a ball, right? And then 2, I saw my flighted shots have more control and a little less spin so I could flight them in the wind.
Okay.
And then 3, I just saw way more actually, which is weird. I saw less spin with my irons, but more spin with my wedges, where I finally was getting that check. So I could nip it, and I knew that it was going to react the way I wanted it to. And that is one of the main reasons why I switched to the X.
That's great. I mean, that explains the new golf ball and what it's meant to do, and the separate things between the woods, the irons, and the wedges.
Yeah.
You alluded, I know this is brand new to you.
Yes.
Talk to us about this, because I think there's a lot went into this around your actual game, right?
Correct. So not many people are playing the Qi10 MAX. I think I'm probably one of the only ones here today that's gaming this head. It's a little bigger, and what I like about this head is the face. I didn't really love the red face, and I love how this, when I'm up above it, it looks like one club.
Yeah.
And I love the line on top too for alignment. I feel like when I set it down, I just know that I'm aiming correctly and the face isn't just popping at me. So I feel very comfortable over it. I'm a draw bias player, so I like to see a draw, and if I do tend to miss, I miss a little heely. I start to jerk maybe a little bit too much. If I'm trying to give it a little too much like power with the upper body, my tendencies are I jerk a little forward, and obviously if you jerk forward, you move your hands forward and you start to hit it heely. So what I noticed with the Qi10 MAX is that just the dispersion of that heely miss was not as significant as it was before.
That's great. I mean, that's what it's all designed about with the 10,000 MOI points.
Yeah.
Tall velvets throughout the set, and then let's get into to wrap this off. You've got your 3-wood in the Qi10 Tour, but here is interesting.
Yeah.
You've got a 6-wood in the Qi10 Tour, which you've hit initially here and quite like, and then Qi10 V-Steel in the core model there.
Yeah.
Getting a little heavier as you go down in the golf shafts as the length goes down, which we stereotypically see. This one is coming out at 60, everything else 70. But talk to me about that 6-wood and then the 7-wood and the combo and what you're looking for.
So I actually tested the 6-wood today for the first time, and I've been gaming the 7-wood, obviously the Stealth, for the past year, and I've loved it. I love how high and easy it is to hit. The control on it is amazing, but what I really like with this 6-wood is, let's say you're playing a US Open, and that is a firm, fast golf course, is what they're usually known for. And then you go and play a British. Let's say at St. Andrews, where it's typically very windy, it's firm, and you're trying to hit a lot of flighted shots. What I like about this 6-wood is that you can adjust it whenever, just with a wrench. You can adjust it to hit it higher on a US Open golf course, and then you can go and adjust it to hit it lower at a British golf course, versus the 7-wood. I feel like you can't really do it. There's not as much play that goes into 7-wood as there is with the 6-wood, and I just feel like this club may be a little bit more versatile versus this one.
And for a traveling player and someone who knows so much about their game, someone who knows so much about each aspect of the game, I mean, this is the first time I've got to talk to you about equipment. So knowledgeable in it. It's awesome.
Sometimes it's funny because I've actually learned so much in this past year about equipment. Before, I probably wasn't as good, or I didn't have as much knowledge, but I feel like the more I get to talk to people that are building these clubs, the more I get to learn and appreciate the products.
It's brilliant. It's probably one of the best what's in the bag tutorials I have seen, so fantastic job. Thank you very much, Nelly. Guys, if you like what you're seeing, be sure to hit subscribe and hit that bell notification. That's Nelly Korda's what's in the bag. There's no need for me to commentate on this one. She's got it dialed.
Mic drop.